Toyota Gazoo Racing is the motorsport division of the Japanese car manufacturer Toyota. They mainly compete in rally and sports car racing, but have recently ventured into the world of Formula 1 by forming a technical partnership with the Haas F1 team, in which Toyota will provide design, technical and manufacturing services ahead of the 2026 regulation changes. Toyota did previously compete in Formula 1 between 2002 and 2009 as a factory team, but wouldn't see too much success. Their best result in the Constructors came in 2005, when they finished in 4th place, while their best finish in the Drivers' Championship would be provided by Ralf Schumacher, who finished P6 in that same season. Despite the Toyota chairman being adamant that this new partnership with Haas would not mean a return to the sport for the Toyota team, but we can make this a reality using the F124 game. So I loaded up a new MyTeam save, used this incredible livery, and simulated through 10 seasons with the Toyota Gazoo F1 racing team. For the first season, the driver pairing will include the former driver Kamui Kobayashi, alongside the new Haas driver of Oliver Behrman due to the team's links. But before we begin, make sure you drop a like on this video and subscribe if you haven't already. Also have a think about becoming a channel member to show some extra support to the channel. Heading into the first season, and Red Bull will manage to win the Constructors' Championship, with the real-life champions of McLaren finishing as runners-up. The Toyota Gazoo Racing team will take a solid P5 finish for their first Formula 1 season. The driver pairing for the first season of Behrman and Kobayashi finished the season in P9 and P11 to help the team finish in the top half. When it comes to the Drivers' Championship, the third place Ferrari team will have their driver of Charles Leclerc also finishing in third place, behind the runners-up McLaren's driver of Lando Norris. This allows for the Red Bull driver of Max Verstappen to match his team's championship win to take his 4th consecutive driver's title. He would take a total of 8 race wins on his way to the title, with runner-up Lando Norris taking just 4. Charles Leclerc would take 3 race wins to finish in third place, with his teammate Carlos Sainz winning just a single race. At the end of the season though, both Kevin Magnussen and Kobayashi will be leaving Formula 1 and heading into retirement. Dennis Hauger is brought in to join Haas, with Yuki Tsunoda being signed by Toyota. Nico Hülkenberg moves to the V-Carb team, with Théo Pourchaire also brought in by Haas to make his debut. There will also be some small changes to their aerodynamics department for the second season. The second season of this simulation will see Red Bull Racing retain their Constructors' Championship, with McLaren finishing as runners-up, while Toyota managed to remain in P5. Oliver Behrman will finish his second season with a P11 finish, while the newest driver Yuki Tsunoda manages to finish as high as P6. The Drivers' Championship stays pretty similar, with Charles Leclerc finishing in third place, behind Lando Norris, with neither being a match for the champion of Max Verstappen. It was slightly closer this season, with both Norris and Verstappen winning 5 races each, with Yuki Tsunoda winning his first race for himself and his team, finishing the season with a total of 3. Charles Leclerc managed to win twice, while Oscar Piastri technically wins his first race. This season ends with a surprising retirement of Pierre Gasly, with the team bringing in Deruvala to replace him. Toyota and McLaren strike a deal, with Piastri and Yuki Tsunoda swapping cars for next season. There will also be some small changes to both the chassis and durability departments going into the third season. There isn't much change to the Constructors' Championship in the third season despite the regulation changes, with Red Bull remaining on top, followed by McLaren and Ferrari. Toyota also managed to finish in P5 for the third season in a row, with Oliver Behrman remaining in P11, while the new signing Piastri is able to gain a position finishing in 5th place. The Drivers' Championship will also stay the same, with Charles Leclerc finishing in 3rd, behind the McLaren driver of Lando Norris and the reigning champion of Max Verstappen. Verstappen would win a total of 6 races this season, with Piastri winning a total of 3. Lando Norris, Charles Leclerc and George Russell would all finish this season with 2 wins, while Yuki Tsunoda adds another race win to his tally in his new McLaren car. And at the end of the season, Valtteri Bottas will be saying goodbye to the sport, with Dennis Hauger moving away from Haas to join Kick Sauber. Haas then bring in another brand new driver, with Enzo Fittipaldi driving next season. Toyota will have some small money issues and will not be able to afford Oscar Piastri, with Williams signing him, while Sargent moves the other way. There will also be some small regulation changes, this time hitting the last department not changed yet, that being the powertrain department. There is finally some movement at the top of the Constructors' Championship, with Red Bull dropping all the way down to P5 and McLaren taking the title, with Mercedes finishing as runners-up. Toyota struggled in the face of their financial issues, dropping down to P8, with Behrman and Sargent finishing in P15 and P16, with 6 points being scored by Oliver. The title fight was really between McLaren and Mercedes this year, with Yuki Tsunoda finishing in 3rd place, less than 20 points behind George Russell, who finished in 2nd. And after Red Bull's terrible season, Max Verstappen finishes all the way down in P8, with the new champion Lando Norris taking 4 race wins to take his first ever title. George Russell would win 3 races this year, with Yuki Tsunoda winning twice, and Lewis Hamilton returns to the top step to extend his record by just another race win. Now at the end of the season, there will be no regulation changes and no changes to the driver lineups, with each team retaining their pairings for Season 5. McLaren are able to retain their Constructors' Championship after absolutely no changes, with Aston Martin jumping up to second and Red Bull rising to third. Toyota also managed to improve on their last season result with a P6 finish, with Sargent rising up to P13 and Oliver Behrman moving all the way up to 10th. Fernando Alonso moves up to the third place spot in the drivers' standings, which has definitely helped Aston Martin to their second place. The McLaren driver of Yuki Tsunoda gains a position to P2 after George Russell drops all the way down to P5, with Tsunoda's teammate of Lando Norris completing back-to-back drivers' championships. Norris showed complete dominance, winning a total of 7 races this season, with the rest being won by his teammate Yuki Tsunoda. There will be a seismic shift in the drivers' market after the Red Bull driver of Max Verstappen retires from Formula 1. Red Bull signed the former McLaren driver of Oscar Piastri, with Williams snapping up Oliver Behrman from Toyota. The newest team then signed Season 4 runner-up George Russell as a replacement, with the reigning champion moving over to Mercedes. This season's bronze medalist Fernando Alonso moves into the McLaren car, while Esteban Ocon moves to Aston Martin. Alex Albon signed for Alpine, with Frederick Vesti set to make his debut at Williams, with Zane Maloney also being set to make his debut with Toyota after the sacking of Logan Sargent. There will also be quite a large change to the regulations, with both the aerodynamics and chassis departments being forced to change. There really was a lot of change, with McLaren dropping down to second place behind the brand new Constructors' Champions as VCarb take the title in Season 6. Williams also had a great season, jumping up to third, while Toyota struggled again, dropping back down to P8. The new driver pairing of George Russell and Zane Maloney scored combined 2 points, with Russell finishing in P15 and Maloney in P17. Finishing in third place for the second season in a row will be Fernando Alonso, this time in his new Papaya car. And alongside the VCarb domination, their drivers would finish 1-2 in the Drivers' Championship, with Nico Hulkenberg finishing as runner-up, behind none other than Daniel Ricciardo. Ricciardo would take a total of 6 race wins, while Hulkenberg finally reaches the podium, taking 3 race wins across the season. Fernando Alonso then rounds up the wins with just 1. After moving to Mercedes and failing to retain a third title, Lando Norris decides to leave Formula 1, with the Silver Arrow signing Lance Stroll as a replacement. Victor Martins is then signed by Aston Martin to make his debut next season. The 2 departments that wasn't changed last season will feel the effects this year, with powertrain and durability both seeing changes. If one Constructors' title wasn't enough for the VCarb team, they go and secure back-to-back championship wins, with Williams moving to finish as runners-up. The Toyota team also gain a position in the Constructors' Championship, finishing this season in P7. Zane Maloney is able to gain a few positions up to P13, with George Russell managing to jump up all the way to P11. The Drivers' Championship sees a new face enter, with Oliver Behrman finishing in P3 in his Williams car, with once again both VCarb drivers finishing at the top. Nico Hulkenberg would only win 1 race this season to finish in P2, while Daniel Ricciardo would take a total of 9 race wins to take his second consecutive title. The Mercedes team has taken a dip in the past few seasons and will see their most successful driver Lewis Hamilton retiring from Formula 1 without ever moving to Ferrari. The reigning champion Daniel Ricciardo will make a move to the lackluster Mercedes team, with Sargent returning to the sport to drive for the VCarb team. The Red Bull and Toyota teams then strike a deal, with Russell moving to Red Bull, with Piastri returning to the Toyota Gazoo racing team. Visa Cash App Racing Bulls are dominating the sport with a 3rd title in the space of 3 seasons. Toyota improved to finish as runners-up this season, with Williams dropping down to P4. The longest serving Toyota driver of Zane Maloney finishes in P5, behind his teammate of Oscar Piastri, who will score 147 points to finish in the 3rd place. Now you got a feel for Nico Hulkenberg, as once again he finishes as runner-up behind his teammate, with the new VCarb driver of Logan Sargent winning the Drivers' Championship. Sargent would take 3 race wins to win his first ever title, despite Hulkenberg winning 4. Oscar Piastri does the best he can to fight the Racing Bulls, after his 3rd place was received after 3 race wins. Now at the end of the season, both Kick Sauber drivers will be removed from their team, with Ayumu Iwasa and Victor Martins taking the 2 seats. Nico Hulkenberg moves away from the VCarb in favour of Aston Martin, with Porsche moving into the very successful VCarb team. Dennis Hauger leaves Kick Sauber, but will remain in the sport as he drives for Haas next year. There will also be some changes to the aerodynamics, chassis and durability departments heading into the penultimate season. Despite changing drivers, the VCarb team remain on top, with no one getting close to their tally of 403 points. McLaren move up to P2, overtaking Toyota, who drop down to 3rd. Zane Maloney will only finish in P8 this season, with Oscar Piastri dropping down to P4. The 3rd place is taken by a returning face as Yuki Tsunoda finishes behind his former team, both V-Carb drivers. Former champion Logan Sargent can only finish in second place, as the newest driver of Tio Porsche dominates the championship, winning 8 times to take his first title, with the other 2 race wins going to Logan Sargent. The driver market is then shaken up a little bit after the Aston Martin driver Esteban Ocon calls it a day, with Alex Albon moving from Alpine to the Silverstone team. Ayumu Iwasa moves to Alpine, with Kik Sauber bringing in Zayn Maloney from Toyota. Oscar Piastri also leaves Toyota, moving to Ferrari, with Carlos Sainz moving the other way. The other Toyota driver for the final season will then be the debutant Jack Doohan, who somehow hasn't made his move to Formula 1 until now. With no regulation changes and not so many driver moves, V-Carb continued to succeed, taking a 5th Constructors title in a row, scoring over double the points of 2nd place McLaren, who themselves only finished 2 points ahead of 3rd place Toyota. The new Toyota driver Carlos Sainz has a pretty successful season, finishing in P6, behind both McLaren drivers and his teammate Jack Doohan, who somehow manages to finish in P3 in his debut season. Both V-Carb drivers will remain at the top of the driver standings, with Logan Sargent maintaining his runners-up position, finishing behind the reigning champion of Tio Porsche. Porsche will go on to win 9 races this season, with the only other possible race being won by his teammate of Logan Sargent. So there we have simulated 10 seasons of Formula 1 with the Toyota Gazoo racing team. Now how did they perform compared to your expectations? But let's have a look at the 10 seasons as a whole to see who the standout performers were and who didn't perform as well as they probably should have. Firstly, let's have a look at the Constructors' Championship. Now we have 3 different winners in this simulation, with Red Bull winning the first 3 titles, McLaren doing a double for the next 2 seasons, and then the final 5 seasons were absolutely dominated by the V-Carb team, which is safe to say no one saw coming. There was more variation in the Drivers' Championship, with 5 different drivers taking the crown. Max Verstappen would win the most across the 10 seasons, winning 3 times, with Lando Norris, Daniel Ricciardo and Tio Porsche winning twice, with Logan Sargent winning once. Now when it comes to race wins, there was a total of 13 different race winners, with Carlos Sainz, Fernando Alonso, Lewis Hamilton winning just the once across 10 years. George Russell would win a total of 5 races, with Logan Sargent winning 6 times. Both Charles Leclerc and Oscar Piastri would take 7 race wins each, finishing behind Hulkenberg with 8 wins and Tsunoda with 9. Daniel Ricciardo would win a total of 15 races, behind Porsche with 17, Verstappen with 19, but the driver with the most race wins was Lando Norris, who managed to take 22 race wins across the whole simulation. But that does bring the end to the video today. I hope you enjoyed. Links in the description will take you to all my other social media, as well as some affiliate links to help support the channel. Press the join button to show some extra support and receive some exciting perks. Now don't forget to like this video if you did enjoy, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. But that is going to be all from me today, so have a good day, evening or night wherever you are, and goodbye.